Hello and welcome. I'm Nate542 and in this video we're just going to talk about the Bambulab Carbon X1C. Okay, so you can see in front of me now I have the Bambulab Studio, which is the thing that you can use just off the get-go. Once you have installed your printer, you'll be asked to do what I did in the last video, I think it was the last video anyway, where you log into an account and then you log into your account on here as well, and it says here, Nathan Jenkins, log out. You have here different things you can do. You can look at the previous models you printed. There's online models here. You got Maker Lab, which allows you to create your own stuff, which is pretty cool. And there's then your print history, I guess, as well. I'll just show you real quick how you start a print. So you go prepare at the top, and you can see here we have this big plate in the middle. This is one set up for the SCADA's deburring tool holder, which is one that I've already printed actually. Let me just go grab that. Here is the thing that I just printed, which is the thing that would have been on here now. And you can see I just pulled the support straight off. There you go. Now this is actually for a pegboard, which is going to go right to my side. I have a... Oh my god, it literally just pressed straight on. So there we go. That's that made. That's really nice to see how you do make these things. So I'll just show you that model real quick whilst I'm here. Discard, yeah, sure, whatever. This is the model here. So you get one of these deburring tools which allows you to trim the edges off so it makes it a bit neater. And it has 10 spaces at the back, 4 different sizes of curve for the deburring tool. I found the deburring tool on Amazon. I messaged the design owner on this to find out what deburring tool they had, and they pasted a link to the one that they purchased off Amazon, although it was the American link, so I had to just kind of try and find the British version of that, which is probably the same because it's most likely from a Chinese factory anyway. But yeah, so I did that, I found it, and now we are here. So yeah, we'll start a new project. You don't have to do this, to be fair. I could have just clicked on here and then put a new thing in. But I'll show you a couple of different ways to do these things. So we're going to start off, we're going here. So this is the website, this is the thing on the website. I want to build this thing here. It's a soap dispenser, or a soap tab dispenser that can go in your kitchen, I guess. So you want to do the X1C. There's one here already that someone has built for this, and you can either click download FreeMF, open in Bamboo Studio. So if we click open in Bamboo Studio, you can click import, allow it to go through, and then it loads in its own little thing. And now you have it set up for you. Let me just full screen that, and there we go. That's nice. That's good. So this is the full size thing. For some reason there's a little square there, but you can just delete that. I'm not sure why that was there. I'm going to print this in PETG. So how do you think you print stuff in PETG on here? We'll click on device at the top because I'm on Linux and sometimes things are a little bit awkward on Linux. But on the Linux version, on this one that I have, you have to click on the device first for it to notice the device that you have. At the top here, you want to just make sure it's the right printer. So Bambulab X1 Carbon, yep, that's right. You click this little thing here, it says synchronized filament list from AMS. Click resync, and this is the 4 filaments in my AMS system right now. And if you click on device, you can see over here, well, I can't see over here, right, because my microphone is right in my face. But you can see here you've got my yellow PLA PCTG. That's wrong. Oh, it's not bamboo. It's generic. Generic PET G. There it is. PET G. Yeah. So, and then you can click confirm. And now I've changed what the setting is for that on the printer. It knows that it's PET G. You can see it does have like a ink bar kind of thing. For the ones that it doesn't have the little eye, then they're not official Bambulab ones, which means that you've just defined it yourself and it's kind of just guessing how much filament's there. It doesn't guess how much filament's there for these ones. It just says that they're always full because it doesn't know. For these ones, because of the tag that is created for them, it allows them to be added on here, and it subtracts the filament from the amount of filament that you provide it. So it will eventually go down to pretty much 0, and then it will know that there's nothing left on the wheel, and hopefully it will automatically switch over to a different thing, a different filament, if you tell it to do that. But yeah, let's go back to here. So this is the actual thing that I'm trying to print. Now with the supports on here, if you want to set up proper supports for this, and we want to set it to generic, that says PCTG, let's resync that, generic PETG, you can double click here. Generic PETG is on number 2, so we'll go number 2. There we go. You can also just set number 2 to number 2. Set number 1 to number 2, and then everything would just print in number 2. It's a bit of an odd one, but it's just the way things go on here. You can click on global again. So this is just global things for this. You want to go tree auto, and then I usually go to 25 as the threshold angle, just because it's a bit more. It thinks a bit more about it. But if you go slice plate here, what this does now is it gets the slice going. And then we have some tree supports here which kind of lean over, and they hold up the lip here, which allows this to be a nice straight line. And I have done a part of a test print for this before, and it was perfectly fine and straight. It is lagging me a bit, so it's slowing me down a bit, but that's fine. This is more a Linux issue than anything else, which will eventually load once it realizes what it's doing. Here we go. Send print to PETG2 A2, so you see double check as well. It's going to take up 215 grams of filament, which is nice. You can turn auto refill on if you want to. It says it's going to go to this printer here. You can refresh the list if you can tell it to do bed leveling, flow dynamics calibration, and enable the actual print to happen. And then you can just click send, and what it does is it will send the print job to the printer. Now the printer should kick on in a second. I just had it kick on behind me. The fans are spinning up. You can click on here as well, and you can see what goes on inside the printer. So you can see what's going on now. And now there we go. We have a way to view everything that's going on in the printer. I think what I'll do is I'll come back in another video and I'll talk about the good points and the bad points of the Bambulab, because I do kind of want to cover that at some point. There are good and there are bad points of it. I've had issues with a couple of things on there. But I've also had a very good time as well, in the sense that most things have been perfectly fine. If you're okay with buying everything from Bambulab, filaments, all that kind of stuff, then you can really have a good time with this printer. And it also makes it very easy for you to do. So yeah, I think I'll come back at some point and talk about that. That's how you print these ones. So, but I mean, if you want to download stuff still, you can just click on here, download the 3MF, and you can do what you want with that. You do have on here for bigger prints. So like if you're thinking of this C4 detonator with realistic clicking sound, if you was to print this on the X1C, it'll probably take more than one plate. So yeah, this has 2 plates. And this thing that you can do in here is actually set something to take 2 plates. So we'll open this in the Bamboo Studios. You can tell it not to do this again, but it will ask you every time you restart the browser, which is a bit annoying, but there we go. And here it is. So this is the print. You can see that they are using PLA metal, which makes it, apparently it's a bit more of a metal feeling PLA. Now PLA is obviously plastic, so it's not metal, but I would like to get some of these other PLA materials to see what they're like. I think I mentioned it in the last video, but I do have my little floppy drive box with little floppy disks that contain it's just the color of each thing essentially, but there's also a slight gradient on the front side there, which allows you to see how much light gets through the filament. And you can do that for like red, or I've got a blue one, I've got a gold one, a white one, so you can see the colour comes through a lot more in the white. But that's cool. I like that a lot. It's very nice, and it's what they call a swatch. So that's a really useful thing for the Bambulabs, is that you can actually order just a swatch. I'll speak about that in the next video as well. But just to iterate a couple of other things that you can do with this. So say you had this part here that was printing. Optional handle printed separately. Or actually, say you had this part here. This is an aerial, I think, that you're printing, and you wanted to do something a little bit different with this. So you could take this in, and yeah, I think it just sticks to the side. You could potentially go onto here, go onto number 3, and you can say, I want this part to be that colour, or I want that part to be that colour. So now you have something that looks a bit more like an actual thing, and you can do the whole bottom of it so that it makes it all real good. And you can say, okay, I want the tip to be silver, so do that, you know. And now you've got like a 3-colour piece, and that's pretty cool. There are other bits like that you can do. So like say for this bit here, it says firing device electrical M57. Say you wanted to highlight that, so I'm just going to take in the colours that I got in there now. So we'll say we want this actual thing to be grey, because grey is probably more of the right colour. But this is a white, it's not actually white, it's clear. So we'll do that there, and we want that to be like that. And we want the screws to be kind of gold. And there we go. Now we have something that stands out. You can say I want the vice of the device to be gold, and there you go. There's proper customization here that allows you to change all these things. Now a lot of this stuff you can also do on the Prusa, but I did have the Prusa with the MMU free, and I never got it to work as expected. I never even really got it to do a full color change for a whole one product that I was creating. Now that could be down to bad filaments or old filaments, but the AMS here that I'm using with the Bambulab is using my old filaments. It's using the same filaments that I couldn't get to work on the other one, and it's working fine. Now obviously with the NMU 3 it comes with a lot of customization. You need to calibration. You need to calibrate it properly for these things to be able to work properly. I did try that, I really did. I also contacted the support several times. I replaced parts, I built new parts that I had to 3D print with the printer in a very janky way in order to try and get it just to print something. And because of that, it's made me lose a lot of desire to even use the Prusa, to be honest, because I couldn't get it to that level. I couldn't get it to the level where I could just click and print just like I did here today. So now obviously this is still going through the boot up phase of the print, but you can see, hang on, let's get rid of this. You can see here what they're doing, or what it's doing. There's loads of different parts of the Bambulab. You've got the bin at the back, which is just like a little drop hole. It drops out the back of the printer, which is a bit annoying. That's something I can add to my bad points for the next video. The poop chute. Now I'll talk about that more in detail another time, but essentially I'll just go over what the printer does in this video. So this is the dishwasher tabs thing that it's printing, and what it does after you've started the initial layer is, I don't know if you saw that line that was going across here. It has a LiDAR on the head of the printer, which allows it to scan what it's done already and the bed of the printer, and it will check to see is what it's done already correct. Now that's quite an amazing thing to see, because that is, well, I mean, that's not really anything that any other printer does. Like, using LiDAR to detect the bed differences. I've not had to do any bed leveling on this printer whatsoever, and I will say that's probably one of the best things I've had to not have to deal with anymore, is I don't have to go over there and readjust, fine tune the pinch point for the filaments anymore. It does it itself, and I'm really surprised that it's taken this long for any of this to happen with the printers, because we've been looking for that kind of solution for a very long time. we had the bed probe, you know, we had the little flicky thing that kind of puts a stick down, and then it pulls it back up real quick. We did have better quality bed probes, I think, and stuff like that as well. But after all of that, it just didn't ever work as good as this. Now, I mean, I'm sure the Prusa people have probably taken one of these, bought one of these already, dissected it down to a T, and figured out exactly what they're doing. I don't know if this is like special technology that's not allowed to be used anywhere else, or if it is. But yeah, I don't know if you see what it's just doing there, but what it does is... Oh yeah, there it goes. The first layer, the first little hexagon is printing out. So, yeah, I'm using a PETG, which it's a very old PETG that I had laying around. Hopefully it goes all fine, and doesn't cause another clog. That's one of the issues of clogs that I've had in the past. But yeah, it should be fine, and hopefully we'll see how that goes in the future. Yeah, over this side over here, it draws 4 lines, and it scans the lines, and it says, does this line look good? And it will adjust itself to figure out, is the line good or is it not good? Do we need to put a little bit more filament out? Do we need to put a little bit less filament out? And it makes those adjustments on the fly, apparently. And then it goes in and does the full print. Now that was obviously, I don't know, probably like several minutes. But it's several minutes that could potentially save your print. So, you know, it's worth doing if you have a 7-hour print like this going on, because it means that it's less likely that you're going to lose the print completely. Now, this is my second attempt, and it's only my second attempt because my first attempt ran out of filament. And it ran out of filament, but then also clogged the AMS. So I couldn't really fix it on the fly. I had to stop, turn the printer off, unplug the AMS, do loads of replacement work to that, and then it was fine. But it was a good amount of downtime, and it was over just a bit of bent filament the wrong way, essentially. That's just another thing with this printer, I guess. It likes the filament to be the Bambulab filament, and if it is the Bambulab filament, it will print perfectly as expected with their filament. But, you know, I've been talking for a long time now. I'm going to cut it there. I will come back in the next video and we'll talk about the Bamboo X1C a bit more. We'll talk about the good, the bad. I mean, I've had a very general overview of the good and the bad, and also about my enemy free now. But yeah, we'll talk a bit more about it and a bit more in depth about it then. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.